This is a story about a veterinarian named Ji-yul who lives and works in downtown Seoul. One day, Ji-yul is surprised when he gets a call requiring him to meet his grandfather immediately in the village. So he borrows a coworker's car and rushes to leave. He is worried that his grandparents could not be contacted along the way. He is concerned because they are all he's got after his parents passed away. After such a long journey, Ji-yul finally arrives at the village where it is raining heavily. He shouts for his grandfather in front of his house, but there is no answer. Just before breaking through the fence, he is caught by a policewoman who happens to be on patrol. She thinks he is a criminal because thieves have been targeting the elderly's houses lately. Ji-yul explains that he is the grandson of the owner of the house, but she keeps urging him to show his ID. The policewoman named Ahn Ja-young explains that the house is actually empty. Ji-yul demands an explanation from Ahn Ja-young, who is silent in shock after seeing his identity. Things get even more complicated when Ji-yul is slammed by Ahn Ja-young's police friend, who misunderstands and knocks him unconscious. Ji-yul wakes up in his grandfather's veterinary clinic. He finally finds out that his grandparents are going on vacation to Europe, and they are actually fine. It was just the clinic employee who called him made it sound as if it was bad news. Apparently, his grandfather wants his grandson to take his place at the clinic during his vacation. The clinic is very important for the villagers who raise a lot of livestock. Therefore, Ji-yul will stay at his grandfather's house and work at the clinic for the next few months. Ahn Ja-young keeps staring at Ji-yul with a questioning look. Then she offers to take him home as an apology. Ji-yul phones his coworker, Han Ji-yul. He assures him that he will arrange for someone to replace him to work in the office. He is also willing to send his various needs to the village, so Ji-yul doesn't have to worry about anything anymore and can focus on fulfilling his grandfather's mandate. On the way, Ahn Ja-young can't focus because she keeps staring at Ji-yul as if she knows something about him. As a result, she almost hits a man and makes him fall into the rice field. The poor man is Seong-cheol, Ahn Ja-young's best friend since childhood.
야, 머리랑 이거 어떡해? 왜 사람을 그렇게 쳐다보고 그래?
Ji-yul is taken to a chicken farm, where the owner reports to Ahn Ja-young that he has caught a dog that continues to prey on his chickens. Ji-yul, who feels sorry for the dog, brings it in for treatment. He returns to the clinic and takes care of it for a while. Ji-yul's first day in the village gets even tougher when he falls in the rice fields and handles injured goats that go berserk and super nosy ladies at his grandfather's house. Fortunately, Ahn Ja-young is there, and she manages to convince the villagers to behave themselves. Ji-yul can't understand why Ahn Ja-young keeps watching him all day long. He's even confused when Ahn Ja-young shows a caring attitude toward him. On that tiring night, Ji-yul reads a letter from his grandfather apologizing for what has happened. He just wants to make his wife happy before it's too late and fulfill her dream of traveling the world. Ji-yul feels alienated, but he understands his grandfather's feelings. He also knows that his grandmother has the right to be happy because she has endured so much suffering. Ahn Ja-young keeps staring at Ji-yul, not without reason. In the past, they had met and become secret friends. The two of them always played together and made good memories. However, it seems Ji-yul doesn't remember it after he leaves the village, which disappoints Ahn Ja-young. Even so, Ahn Ja-young keeps looking for opportunities to stay involved with Ji-yul, hoping he will recognize her soon. Ahn Ja-young is a reliable cop, and the villagers always depend on her. Wherever there is a problem, she will definitely be there to solve it. For example, when Ji-yul gives vaccines to pigs on the farm, Ahn Ja-young comes to his aid. Ahn Ja-young is used to it because she always helps Ji-yul's grandfather vaccinate animals. After doing his job, Ji-yul follows Ahn Ja-young to a place where she usually gets coffee. That's when Ji-yul meets Seong-cheol, who welcomes him warmly. He introduces himself as the chairman of the youth association that manages the peach orchard. Ji-yul is not open to villagers and seems to refuse to get along with anyone. Seong-cheol, who realizes that, judges him as arrogant, but he understands it. Working in the village is not as easy as it seems. Ji-yul is kept busy with work that he has never imagined before. His suffering continues when the thief who has been roaming the village breaks into his grandfather's house. Fortunately, Ahn Ja-young manages to catch him and brings him to the police station. It turns out that the thief is a high school student from the next village. He has never stolen expensive items all this time but keeps stealing because he has to raise money. The funny thing is he does that to buy a birthday present for his girlfriend. Because the case involves two hostile villages, the head of each village argues and then fights for Ji-yul to be matched with a girl in her area. It annoys him, so he says he doesn't want to get involved in the village feud and insists that he already has a girlfriend. Ja-young offers to take Ji-yul home, but Ji-yul flatly refuses. She then asks why he behaves like he hates the village he lives in now. He explains that he doesn't like it when the villagers are too friendly and when they refuse help. Ja-young tries to provoke his memory when she asks if he has good memories in the village because he used to live with his grandparents. However, he says he doesn't have good memories there and likes to have personal space wherever he lives. That answer proves that he doesn't remember any good memories with Ja-young, which hurts her feelings. Ji-yul's words are etched in Ja-young's mind, making her realize that the same memories can be different from other people's memories. Is this one-sided love? Ja-young asks herself, and it confuses her best friend as they chat together at the coffee shop. Ja-young continues to meet with Ji-yul as she always takes Sandam, the little boy who lives opposite Ji-yul's grandfather's house, to school. Ja-young's attitude towards Ji-yul changes when she crosses paths with him and immediately confines herself. When Ji-yul finishes his duty at the cattle ranch, he accidentally sees Ja-young talking to some villagers who are a little annoying. They praise Ja-young for helping them, but then blame her mother for neglecting her as a child. Ja-young tries to hide her sadness, but Ji-yul now knows that she has been living in solitude all this time. Ji-yul feels guilty, so he tries to take her to the office riding a bicycle, but Ja-young politely refuses. She is ashamed of Ji-yul, who already knows the sad side of her life. Ja-young cares so much for the villagers because they have always cared for her since childhood when her mother left her. On one occasion, Ji-yul is forced to get involved in the villagers' activities to take care of the peach garden, and he meets Ja-young there. Ji-yul apologizes to her for overreacting the other day. Ja-young forgives him and asks him to rely on her while in the village. However, Sang-yeon is restless seeing Ja-young close to Ji-yul, afraid that he will be forgotten. Ja-young, who notices that, explains that she will never forget him, let alone ignore him. She tells him that Ji-yul was her secret childhood friend and that she just wants to make him feel at home while living in the village. On her day off, Ja-young takes the dog that Ji-yul previously rescued for a walk. She calls it Nurunji and begs Ji-yul to let her take care of the dog. One time, Nurunji disappears, and it turns out it has gone to see its puppies in the forest. Ji-yul, who comes looking for Nurunji, is attacked by the puppy's mother, thinking that he is a threat. As a result, the contact lenses that Ji-yul is wearing come off, and he can't see clearly. After bringing Nurunji home, Ji-yul and Ja-young are faced with a tough task where they have to help a cow that is about to give birth. They both try their best until the baby cow is finally born safely. In the evening, the cattle ranch owner invites the villagers to a party. Sang-yeon, who is also there, doesn't like it when Ji-yul gets closer to his best friend. Ji-yul can't stay for long, and he quickly says goodbye after drinking a few glasses of liquor. Ja-young follows him, and they finally go home together, walking in the night carrying their respective bicycles. Ja-young almost falls because she isn't careful enough, forcing Ji-yul to let go of his bike, which falls into the rice field. Ja-young feels very guilty, and Sang-yeon comes from a distance as he follows his best friend out of concern. He doesn't trust Ji-yul, who might be under alcohol and will do something bad to Ja-young. Ji-yul says goodbye to go home, but then he stops and is surprised to hear Sang-yeon confess his feelings for Ja-young. All this time, he hasn't been afraid that he will be forgotten as a friend, but she will like someone else. Sang-yeon has kept his feelings under wraps for a long time, and he feels that this is the right time to express them. Sang-yeon asks Ja-young to think about his feelings before giving an answer, but he also asks her not to take it too seriously because he doesn't want to burden her. He also explains that he just wants to express his feelings instead of keeping them under wraps and suffering alone. The confession makes Ja-young's relationship with Sang-yeon awkward. Ja-young is afraid they can't be friends anymore like they used to be. Sang-yeon notices that, but he's not afraid because he thinks the awkwardness is fleeting when compared to their time together. Sang-yeon will feel better if Ja-young can be a special person to him. But even if she can't, she can still be a friend, neighbor, and family. One time, Ja-young goes to the forest to take Nurunji's puppies alone. She is worried that the puppies are not well cared for. Ji-yul, who knows that, immediately follows her worriedly. At that time, Ja-young seems overwhelmed with collecting the puppies and their mother. She isn't even aware that her hand is injured. Ji-yul immediately treats her wound after bringing all the dogs to the clinic. The next day, Ji-yul is shocked by the news that Ja-young is injured after falling from her broken bicycle. Ja-young had forgotten that she had removed some parts of her bicycle to repair Ji-yul's bicycle, which had previously fallen into the rice field. Sang-yeon is annoyed that Ji-yul doesn't seem to notice anything. As Ji-yul will return to Seoul, Sang-yeon warns him not to give Ja-young false hope. Ji-yul can't understand why Ja-young cares for him so much that she must neglect her safety and get hurt. It makes him uncomfortable. Ja-young feels that she is only doing what she thinks is right and is very happy when someone thanks her. When Ji-yul and Ja-young's relationship is strained, little Seong-dong asks Ji-yul to make up immediately. Seong-dong explains that even though Ja-young does things that make someone angry, her intentions are always good. Ji-yul feels bad as he blames her instead of thanking her. Ja-young, who is still injured, forces herself to work, but the police chief urges her to take time off and rest, considering that she has always worked hard to serve the community. Someone then drives her home in a car when it rains heavily. On the way, when Ja-young calls Seong-dong, who is at the clinic, the car she is in skids and falls before she finally passes out. Ji-yul knows something is wrong through the phone, so he immediately helps her and takes her to the hospital. Luckily, Ja-young and her colleague only suffer minor injuries. The incident reminds Ji-yul of a dark past. As a child, Ji-yul and his parents came to the village. The heavy rain at that time limited Ji-yul's father's vision, and a tragic accident occurred. They were trapped in the car, slowly sinking to the lake's bottom. Unfortunately, one of the villagers who saw the incident only managed to save Ji-yul. That's when Ji-yul met Ja-young, who continued to accompany him while in the village. Ji-yul doesn't realize that Ja-young is the little girl who always accompanied him in the past. The trauma he has experienced makes him reluctant to remember anything about the village. His beautiful memories with Ja-young disappeared as he tried to forget the dark tragedy that befell his parents. Ji-yul leaves Ja-young, who is still unconscious, in the hospital when Sang-yeon comes to visit her. After all, Sang-yeon is very grateful to Ji-yul for saving his best friend. After visiting his parents' graveyard, Ji-yul gets a heartbreaking request from an old man. His cow has been ill and now can only drink water. The old man already considers the cow his family. If indeed the cow has to die, he begs Ji-yul to make its death painless. Ji-yul grants his wish, and the cow is finally free from suffering. It turns out that the old man is a villager who looked after Ji-yul for a while after what happened to his parents. At that time, Ji-yul's grandfather was too busy to take care of the clinic and the funeral. The old man then tells him that he secretly played with Ja-young as a child. That's when Ji-yul realizes that Ja-young is the little girl who became his secret friend. Ji-yul didn't feel so sad as Ja-young was always there to cheer him up. However, their togetherness vanished when Ji-yul had to move to Seoul. When meeting with Ja-young, Ji-yul can't help but feel guilty for realizing it too late. Unfortunately, their meeting is separated by rain, and Ji-yul hasn't had time to express his apologies. Ja-young doesn't expect that her relationship with Ji-yul would become awkward after he remembers everything. Ja-young belatedly expresses her gratitude to Ji-yul because when she meets him, she is too confused. Even though Ji-yul doesn't expect it, Ja-young explains that she feels compelled to say it even though it is late. One day, Seong-dong's friend's pet rabbit gets sick and is taken to the clinic. Ji-yul checks the rabbit before realizing that Seong-dong's relationship with his friend, Hwai-won, isn't good. Seong-dong, who is upset, vents innocently to Ji-yul. He is upset because his friend is angry with him for not remembering the gift she has given him. They seem to have something in common, as Ji-yul has forgotten Ja-young for quite a long time. Ji-yul thinks it's natural to forget something long ago, but that doesn't mean he doesn't want to apologize to Ja-young. He is just waiting for the right moment to do it. Seong-dong takes Hwai-won to the clinic, hoping his relationship will improve, but it doesn't seem to work. Ji-yul advises Seong-dong to ignore Hwai-won for a while, hoping her anger will subside. Only then should he apologize to her. However, the suggestion makes things worse, and Seong-dong comes to Ja-young for new advice while criticizing Ji-yul's suggestion. Ja-young feels that honesty is best and advises Seong-dong to explain everything quickly and apologize. However, instead of improving, Seong-dong's relationship gets even more chaotic when Hwai-won thinks he's fickle, so she doesn't want to talk to him anymore. After reporting to Ji-yul tearfully, Seong-dong gets a new suggestion to apologize and follow Hwai-won's wishes. Afterward, Hwai-won restlessly comes to see Ji-yul and explains that Seong-dong is not at his house and can't be reached. The villagers are panicked just because of a child's love problem, making Ja-young and Ji-yul cooperate to find Seong-dong immediately. Along the way, they blame each other for giving inappropriate advice to young children. It turns out that Seong-dong has gone to the bus stop to be alone. Seong-dong is very happy after hearing that Hwai-won is no longer angry with him, and thanks to all of that ridiculousness, Ja-young's relationship with Ji-yul gets better. On that unexpected night, Ji-yul confesses that Ja-young's presence as a child was the most beautiful memory he had at that time. Ji-yul also apologizes for forgetting about it. After things improve, Ji-yul and Ja-young continue to get involved with village problems, but manage to handle them all well. They even take time to relax together and talk about many things. Trouble arises in that happiness when a beautiful woman from Seoul comes to the village to look for Ji-yul. She is Chae-min, Ji-yul's ex-girlfriend, who broke up with him 1 year ago. Ja-young thinks that the woman is Ji-yul's lover, as he mentioned her once during the village feud. Ja-young leaves Ji-yul with Chae-min with mixed feelings. Chae-min regrets leaving Ji-yul, who doesn't want to go with her to America. She has realized that the love Ji-yul gave back then was very sincere, but instead, she let it go just because of different opinions. Along with Chae-min's arrival, Yeon Haeon also comes to the village to meet Ji-yul. Chae-min explains that she wants to start everything over. She asks Ji-yul to give her a week to get his attention again, otherwise she will return to Seoul. Before meeting Ji-yul, Chae-min contacted the village community to find her a temporary place to stay. Apparently, she will stay at Ja-young's house. Ja-young can't refuse as the village chief keeps begging her. Apart from that, no suitable houses are available to accommodate Chae-min while in the village. Ja-young welcomes Chae-min warmly, even though she actually feels uncomfortable. Yeon Haeon suggests that Ji-yul considers Chae-min's feelings and she went to America due to work demands. Even though it hurt Ji-yul's feelings, they didn't hold grudges against each other. Ji-yul can't understand why he should bother thinking about it, but then he realizes that he starts to like Ja-young. Not long after that, Ji-yul explains to Ja-young that Chae-min is not his lover like what she and the villagers imagine. He tells her that the girl is his ex-girlfriend. Song-yeon, who hears that, dislikes Ji-yul even more. Ja-young realizes that Chae-min is a good girl. When Chae-min asks for help to win back her ex's heart, she tries to avoid Ji-yul. When they meet, Ji-yul asks if Ja-young has given an answer regarding Sang-yeon's love confession. Instead of answering, Ja-young asks Ji-yul to be more considerate of Chae-min, believing she is a good woman and suitable for him. Ji-yul explains that no matter how good she is, Chae-min is his past, and he has no regrets about breaking up with her. The conversation is enough to make Ja-young's heart flutter. She is happy, but is at a loss to determine her feelings. Chae-min finally finds out that her ex-boyfriend has feelings for Ja-young. She is aware of that only from the attitude and small attention that Ji-yul gives to Ja-young. The more she tries, the more she knows that Ji-yul's heart is closed to her. However, she doesn't want to give up, so she kisses Ji-yul suddenly. Ja-young, who accidentally sees the incident, is surprised and jealous. When meeting with Chae-min at home, Ja-young explains that she and Ji-yul are friends. She is just happy to be able to see him again after such a long time apart. Chae-min doesn't blame Ja-young if she likes Ji-yul. She just needs assurance and asks Ja-young to act naturally if she doesn't like Ji-yul. Later that evening, Sang-yeon finally gets the answer he's been waiting for from Ja-young. It turns out that his best friend doesn't have any feelings for him other than caring for friends. Ja-young has tried to like Sang-yeon, but the feeling never comes in the end. With a heavy heart, Ja-young explains her decision to Sang-yeon. Sang-yeon manages to accept it gracefully. He believes that Ja-young still cares and loves him, even without romantic feelings. He says he will always be by her side as a friend, neighbor, and family member. Ji-yul's heart has completely closed for Chae-min, but that doesn't mean he hates her. He doesn't deny all the memories they've gone through. It's just that now he already has someone in his heart. In addition, Ji-yul feels that Chae-min's current actions are not based on love, but rather a feeling of remorse for something that hasn't been done in the past. Chae-min apologizes for dumping Ji-yul and wasting his feelings. After what has happened, Sang-yeon's attitude towards Ji-yul changes. He still doesn't like him, but at least he's not getting in the way of his relationship with Ja-young anymore. After being sure of his feelings, Ji-yul confesses his love to Ja-young, but she rejects it. She doesn't want to be disappointed a second time because anyway Ji-yul will soon leave and stay away from her life. Sang-yeon realizes that Ja-young actually doesn't want to reject Ji-yul's love. It can be seen from the look on her face. Sang-yeon believes that she rejects Ji-yul's love because she is not confident, especially after seeing Chae-min, who is on a much different level. Therefore, Sang-yeon bravely asks her to fight for her love. Before returning to Seoul, Chae-min says goodbye to Ja-young. That's when Ja-young reveals that she actually likes Ji-yul. Chae-min has long realized that, but she ignores it because it is a competition for her. After making up her mind, Ja-young rushes to meet Ji-yul at the clinic, knowing he will return to the city soon. She confesses her feeling and kisses him.
그래서 얼마나 당겨진 거예요?
Ji-yul is officially in a relationship with Ja-young, proving that he has moved on from his ex-lover. Likewise, Ja-young is so happy that her heart beats fast, as if she can't believe they are together. However, they decide to keep their relationship a secret because they don't want to be the center of attention in the village. They meet as secretly as possible, and they usually date in the evenings after work. They do many things together, like lovers in general, and they can turn simple things into happiness. Of course, this happiness affects their life, which now looks more colorful. Sang-yeon is happy even though his relationship with Ji-yul hasn't completely improved. Yun Ha-young is also happy as he turns out to be secretly approaching the nurse at Ji-yul's grandfather's clinic. Finally, he decides to date her. Even Seon-don also manages to attract his crush's attention. Keeping a relationship a secret isn't as easy as they think. While the villagers continue to observe village life, Ja-young and Ji-yul also often postpone dates due to their busy lives. In the end, Ja-young, frustrated that her dates have failed many times, makes an announcement. After gulping down a few glasses of soju in annoyance, she barges into the village hall. In a half-drunk state, she pours her heart through the loudspeaker, shocking all the villagers with her sudden confession. Ji-yul tries to stop her but fails. Surprisingly, the villagers already know and are just pretending not to. Ja-young is very upset that all her efforts are in vain, but now she's happy that she doesn't have to hide anything anymore. Time passes. Ja-young is forced to have a long-distance relationship with Ji-yul, who must return to Seoul. When Ji-yul gets injured and tries to hide it, Ja-young, who finds out, is very worried, and she can't help herself. So Ja-young decides to go to the city just as Ji-yul forces himself to go to the village. However, in the end, they can meet and release each other's longing. As the days go by, Sang-yeon's peach garden becomes famous after being promoted on the internet. Ja-young is happy because, in the end, Sang-yeon can be friends with Ji-yul, even if it's just in the video game. The shocking news comes from Ji-yul, who decides to move to the village and take over his grandfather's clinic. Ja-young feels bad if Ji-yul does it just for her, but Ji-yul explains that it is purely because of his heart's desire to help the grandfather and the villagers. His grandfather is too old, and it is time for him to enjoy his old age happily. In addition, he is comfortable living in the village with its nosy people. The story ends when Ja-young accepts Ji-yul's proposal.